Recording, and we are good to go. Cool. So let's have a look at today's session, which is called Fights VIP Inner Circle, and really it is all about action plans for this year. All right, how to come up with an action plan that actually works for you. I talked to many people during the bit between Christmas and New Year, and afterwards and before, and I keep hearing the same things like, all right, all the way from I desperately need to make money, I don't even know where to start looking, to hey, I don't even need the money, but I'd like to have some passive income. It would be just extra cool. And when I then ask back, well, what's stopping you? It's like I don't know where to focus. So what we're going to do is come up with an action plan where you can do this. And I've split it into two, namely online and offline. But we don't have to do all of it. Okay, this is going to be an interactive session. I'll ask lots of questions, and I expect you to give lots of input, because only that way we can really come up with an action plan for you. Now, the reasoning behind this is 100% selfish, of course. The thinking is, if you make lots of money, then maybe you're going to spend some with me. So I want you to come up with a plan and go and make lots of dough, because then, maybe, just maybe, you'll find some of my training courses, interesting enough. And this was such a foreign concept to me when I got started online, because every time I saw some guru say this, and the first one I saw saying this was Jimmy D. Brown, and he said, I really want you to succeed. And I thought, oh, that's such marketing talk, but it truly is. That is the secret. Now, I'll give you a little hint. If you're into offline, the one thing we're starting this year is to approach newspapers, and that's fairly easy for us because we've worked closely with newspapers over the last 25 years, doing local sales seminars, etc., or sales seminars for their advertising reps. And what we're going to do is propose the idea of doing lead gen from the newspaper. So far the model typically for a newspaper is, well, we go out and we try to sell advertising space. And of course, typical advertisements are not direct response, therefore it's very hard to measure response, and as a result, a lot of business owners are reluctant to do it. Now, if you go out and now turn this into a model where the ad is basically free, but the newspaper gets paid for every single appointment or sale or call or whatever, depends on the model you're choosing, then it's in the best interest of the newspaper to really put good ads in there. So they have a real investment in this. Rather than going in and pitching something as a service provider, they are now in the same boat as the business owner, because they want as many sales as possible. And that's exactly the same thing here. I want you to succeed, and that kind of benefits me as well. Alrighty, so action plan online. I've got a segment of offline. If no one is interested in offline, fine, we skip it. All right, but I guess, actually, if you quickly type in, what's your preference, online, offline, or both? Both, offline, online mainly, offline also, online only, offline. Okay, cool. So we do both. I'm doing stereo drinking. It's awesome. I've got my proper Darjeeling in one hand and the chamomile tea in the other one. Alrighty, action plan online. I'll give you the big picture. Alrighty, what I've observed in both other people do, and I do this in this order specifically, in other people do and talk about, and also in my own business. When I got started, I tried to do everything. And it turns out you can't do everything. Right? When you're new to this online thing or offline thing, I'm just talking, from my perspective. I came to this from a corporate career, so I'd never had to bother with sales or marketing or online stuff, etc., etc. Now, I was a research scientist at Siemens, so I was doing geeky research stuff, and a little bit involved in marketing the whole thing, bringing the product to market, but that's it. So when you're coming new to this, everything is new, and therefore the learning curve is extremely steep. And if you try to do everything at the same time, create your own product, master traffic, list building, the tech stuff, customer support, all these things, it very, very quickly becomes overwhelming. So really over time, and over Christmas I had a lot of time to look at this, I've identified really 3 areas where I think you can get the most leverage. If you focus on just one of those, you can make a lot of money online, and you can totally ignore everything else. And once you've got that one thing up and running, then cool. Then you can spread out and do other stuff. So the first one is to master traffic. We all keep hearing, yeah, traffic is awesome, and unfortunately, most people go here, SEO, yeah, free traffic. And you come to the point where you go, SEO is awesome because it's free, because I can't really afford anything else. And that is the wrong way around, right? The right way is to go in and start with paid traffic. Really go out and master paid traffic. And I would almost advise against starting with Facebook traffic. Facebook traffic, yes, it gets praised by everyone as the big thing. Like it's like AdWords like in 2003, but it's not. There's a big problem with Facebook traffic, and that is it's not evergreen. Whatever you're learning there, you learn a lot, no doubt about it. But whatever you're learning there, you can apply for a few short days, maybe weeks, depending on the size of your target audience. But then this ad fatigue sets in, and no one's looking at your ads anymore. Whereas if you're going to, for example, media buying or PPC, the number of people who keep looking and who are new to your ads is pretty much unlimited. So I would suggest, if you want to go into mastering traffic, that by all means do look at Facebook, but be aware of this one thing, that when you do Facebook traffic, the ad fatigue sets in very, very quickly, and you need to constantly rotate and optimize, etc., your ads. So it's not something that's fire and forget. It's something that requires a lot of hand-holding, a lot of being on the ball. And I'm not saying other types of traffic don't require this. Anyway, Alex says, from Facebook you bring peeps to your blog and build your own list. Okay, well, bear with me, right? What I'm saying here is, I'll give you the big picture and we can go through the individual points. The problem is, if you go and say, look, I'm learning how to do Facebook traffic, and trust me, it has a steep learning curve, then you bring people to your blog and you build your own list. Now, you've got three major things here, right? You need to master Facebook traffic. You need to figure out what to do on your blog to really entice them, meaning you need to understand where they're coming from, what it is they really want, what would entice them to sign up to your list. Then you build your own list, and then you need to figure out what to do with that list. Now, that is a lot of stuff to master. That's what I'm saying. When I'm talking about master traffic, I'm almost talking CPA level. Figure out where you can basically shuffle traffic from one end to another to an offer, and you don't even put a squeeze page in between or build your list or any of that. Mastering traffic, and there are a ton of people out there who make very, very good money with exactly that approach. It's basically traffic arbitrage. You take traffic from one end, you pay for it, you figure out where are the offers that convert well, make me a profit, and you keep shoveling that, and that's it. Right? So the only thing you need to really figure out is, okay, here I've got an offer, what kind of ad would attract the right kind of people, where are the right places, where can attract those people, and then send traffic. Then you observe what works, what doesn't work, and you build from there. Yes, Alex, that's assuming you can pay for it, absolutely. And the thing is, you don't need to start with a giant ad spend. You can start with, $50, $100. It's not that expensive. And if you do your groundwork, you can totally go from there without breaking the bank. The beauty of that is once you've got a profit, you can reinvest that profit and put it back into your bank account. Now, the one thing there is, depending on the depth of your pockets, you can then choose different models. So, for example, if you were to promote JVZoo type offers where you get paid immediately into PayPal, that's a beauty. Okay, then you have the money immediately available and you funnel it back into your ads. Now, you could also go the other way around and say, look, I'm only choosing a traffic source which charges me once a month, namely at the end of the month, and you start your campaign at the beginning of the month and then work like crazy to make it work during the month. So come end of the month, you've basically made your money back. The second one then is if you say, look, traffic, and I would say traffic is probably ideal for people who are detail-oriented, who are not mathematically challenged. So if you've got you don't have to be a mathematics whiz, but certainly a little bit of a good level of understanding of not even statistics, but looking at numbers and feeling comfortable comparing numbers and saying this converts better than the other, then mastering traffic is certainly a very good way forward to get into this thing without having to worry about list building, worry about what your blog looks like, worry about what kind of offer to put on there, etc., etc. So the second point then is, and only 3 on here, is to master sales funnel creation. And this typically starts with your own product. Now, I know, I've created tons and tons of products, so for me this is no problem, but I can totally appreciate that a lot of people go, well, create my own product. It doesn't have to be you or your own product. You can totally go out and interview other people. And by the way, that's how I got started. I interviewed lots of other people. And I did the good old interview circle. I didn't make very much money with it at all, but it was a start. And it didn't involve me having to pretend to be something, me having to create a product where I had no idea what it is. Simply going out and creating a product where you are either the publisher or the actual product creator is enough. So the whole point of mastering sales funnel creation is that you basically have a product, whatever it is, and everything you do is aimed at creating a high EPC funnel. And the beauty of this is you no longer need to master traffic because you can have affiliates driving traffic to it. The beauty of this is once you've created a high EPC funnel, as in $1 worth of traffic goes in and $5 comes out, then it's a very appealing value proposition to affiliates. And then all you need to do is reach out to affiliates and say, look, you're promoting this kind of stuff, look at mine. For every dollar that goes in, or for every visitor that comes to my site, on average, I'm creating you $5. And very few people are going to say no to that. You can even get to the point where you basically are so attractive that your competitors are sending traffic. I was talking to someone yesterday who sells high-end coaching. They create low-ticket front-end offers, $10, $15, $20, and then all they do is they sell them into $5,000 coaching. And I asked them, what are you doing with everyone who doesn't buy into the $5,000 coaching? Well, nothing. So there are tons of people who have lots and lots of traffic they don't use. And this is an ideal thing. So if you have that high EPC funnel, it's a great offer to bring to people who have that traffic. And of course, once you've got a high EPC funnel, well, you can start buying traffic. Then you go to mastering traffic. You go, right, I know for every visitor that comes in here, I'm making $5, so I can spend up to $4.99 and still make a profit. The last one then is, and this is, in my opinion, the most overlooked opportunity for making the passive income, recurring passive income, where basically you master email marketing. All you need to do is build a list, funnel people into subsequences that depend on their interest and possibly the traffic source they come from. And then over time, you optimize each individual sequence, and you set the whole thing up in such a way that when they come to the end of a sequence, you either send them to a new survey or you automatically funnel them into another sequence, and that's it. That is, in my opinion, the biggest and overlooked opportunity for making passive income. Lots of people look at, passive income means to have a site that is SEO'd and, now there's search engine traffic coming to it. Well, along comes another Panda update and boom, you're screwed again. Whereas if you've got a sequence of emails set up, it almost doesn't matter where the traffic is coming from. Of course, you have to have a good match of traffic to offer and all that kind of thing, but sure. You can then basically, once one traffic source dries up, you go and find another traffic source, you drive through there. And the beauty of this is that you don't need to own your own product. So whereas the master sales funnel creation is primarily about your own product and having a back end behind it, and then you can funnel people into email marketing. With email marketing, it can all be affiliate marketing. You don't have to have your own product. So all you need to master here is basically list building. So, how do I get people onto my list, and then how do I follow up? So that is the action plan online. And what we're going to do in a second is going to go through the individual steps here. So here's the action plan for offline then. But first, a sip of tea. By the way, if you've got any pressing questions right now, just type them in and we can do them now. Alrighty, action plan offline then. This is, it's becoming clearer and clearer. Please don't be a service provider. Because when you are a service provider, you are typically competing on price. And here my magic reveal didn't work. Instead, you become a consultant. So let's look at competing on price. If you've got a service like SEO, like social medias, like all these things, it is extremely hard to have a USP, a unique selling proposition. I personally don't like that term, USP. I prefer UBP, unique buying proposition. There's a unique reason why people buy from you. But that aside, you're typically competing on price. And when you're competing on price, you are competing with the big dogs. You're competing with the Walmarts, the Amazons of this world. And we all know what happens when we compete or try to compete with the Amazons. Namely, we go under. I mean, just look at what's happening to bookstores around the world. You have to be very, very specialized to even have a chance to compete with Amazon. And I personally, so I'm going to have to make some noise here. I'm taking the microphone that is on paper so nice and just removing it from the table here before it falls on me. With Amazon, maybe a little side story here. I love Amazon purely for the convenience. I don't even price shop. I mean, typically they have very low prices, but I could actually find cheaper deals. They're, price shopping engines, but because they've got that extreme convenience of click on the button and I just click the one-click order thing, whatever it is. I've got the Prime membership. I don't even look anymore on my credit card statement. They could charge me monthly for their Prime membership. I don't even know. It is so convenient. It's absolutely worth it. Now, the other day I bought, or I had to buy, sort of a special cleaning solution for my coffee machine. My coffee machine, unfortunately, has a boiler which is made out of aluminium. So there are different models. Some have copper, and mine happens to have an aluminium boiler. And for that, you can't just use any old acid. You can't use vinegar. It'll start corroding the aluminium. So I need a special cleaner for that kind of thing to decalcify the whole thing. And I knew of this one shop, and they don't. Well, I didn't know they had a good online shopping thing. Well, actually, you have to log in every time. You have to re-enter details and kind of thing. So it's kind of annoying. But because I had a very good experience with them online, not online, on the phone, I thought I'd give them another try. And I ordered, 4 bottles of this thing. So 4 bottles is like 4 months worth of cleaning. Once a month, I go and clean my machine. And I got the order, and there was only one bottle in there. But instead of a quarter of a liter, it was 1 liter. So it's like a quart in American units. So I wanted 4 monthly packages, and they sent me 1 giant bottle for a third of the price. So these guys had gone out of their way, and they'd seen, okay, this guy needs cleaning liquid for 4 months. This is much more cost effective. And these are my new superheroes. By the way, if you're in Germany, let me know. Actually, I'm going to put this into my next email to the list. I'm so impressed with them. And it's reinforced my desire and also the plan to help more businesses like that. Don't get me wrong, I love Amazon, I love them for the convenience, etc. But it's this kind of dedication to the customer I absolutely love, and I think I want to give them as much business as I can so they stay in business and they don't get priced out and removed from the marketplace simply because they can't compete with Amazon anymore. Anyway, what I'm trying to highlight here is they stand out because they are providing a fantastic service, and the fantastic service goes beyond fast delivery and nice packaging and good product. It is to the point where they go, look, this dude needs this here, and although it is far less in terms of cost, only a third. So imagine their profit probably was 2/3 less as well. They took care of me as a customer. That is very hard to do when you've got a big box service like, we'll do SEO rankings, page 1, we'll do videos for you, blah, blah, blah. Who cares, that's... Ockett says that is not great, so sorry. I have completely missed when you typed that in, so I have no idea. what is not great. Them providing me at something at a low price is not great. I don't think so. Or maybe my bullet's not revealing. About the aluminium boiler, yeah, well, it's not awesome, but there you go. Let me put it this way: if you're a coffee fanatic, you need to clean your machine anyway once a month. So the only thing that's different is the anti-corrosive chemicals in them. Yum, yum, chemicals, lovely. Oh, this new stuff is even better. The one it causes Alzheimer's. God, awkward, don't tell me this. This new cleaning liquid has a coloring agent in it, so it shows you when it's exhausted, when you've had too much calcium in your machine. It's absolutely awesome. So, I forgot what we were talking about here. Yes. Alrighty, so instead, you want to be a consultant. And consultant, here's the thing, right? Because of our work doing these sales seminars with hundreds and hundreds of salespeople, and indirectly through them thousands and thousands of small businesses. So we've been in them, and I've talked to them on countless occasions. That, in my opinion, is the big secret. You need to start talking to business owners. Offline consulting does not work if you have no idea what the reality is of a real business owner. If you have no idea what's really happening behind the scenes, because, up front, everyone's going, yeah, it's going well, and sorry, I'm really busy. But behind the scenes, the reality of small business is not great, especially with the big Amazon squeezing everyone else. So if you want to be a consultant, you really need to dive in, which is why, I guess I didn't mention this on the previous slide, okay, the Action Plan Online. You want to focus on one thing. It is so important to focus on one thing, become really good at it, and then move to the next. Why? Because if you're spreading yourself thin between several different things and you're jumping from one to the other, you're never really going to optimize one. You're always going to be mediocre at many. And I'm as guilty as any other internet marketer, although I don't really consider myself an internet marketer. I just use the internet for marketing my products and services. But I used to believe, and it kind of worked, it did work, the idea of empires. So, back in the good old days when you had exact match domains, when they had that huge boost in Google, it was so easy to deploy 100 or 200 or 300 exact match domains, put a bit of thin content on there, and thank you very much. And of course, that boost is gone now. But even although it was so easy, it meant that everyone's resources, including mine, were completely stretched thin. And as a result, I never spent the time and energy to really optimize one site. So it was all hit and miss. It was almost like random. And okay, you can go for the law of average and say, if I deploy enough sites, then at some point I'm going to make some money. But I think you're much better off. And not just I think. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Get good at one thing, and maybe to highlight this, I'm going to put this into my email today. But there are two great stories. One is of Cristiano Ronaldo, who may not be that popular, famous or known in the US, but certainly in Europe he is. He just won Footballer of the Year, so football, soccer. And everyone looks at him and goes, well, he's got all this talent, and look at him, young strapping man, etc. And there was a great article on the BBC. I'll dig out that link and send it to you. Actually, I'll dig it out now. Where is it? Because I think I have it here. BBC, there we go. But it is going into my email later on today. I don't think the slides are updating. Still on Become Consultant. Yes, I'm just talking so much. That's why it is still on there. So send to all. There you go. There's an article on Cristiano Ronaldo and how his work ethic really made him what he is today. So it has very little to do with... No, not very little. The guy undoubtedly has masses of talent, but... the way he stood out, or stands out, and now is Football of the Year, is by having this incredible work ethic. So apparently, very early on, he took his earnings, and rather than go out and, on a bender or buy another car, he bought himself had a pool built, so he could do relaxation, recover the muscles faster after training. Then he hired a personal chef to make sure he was always eating the right kind of food, that kind of thing. So that is the big thing. Focus on one. Become a consultant and focus on the one thing you're doing. So, okay, just to make sure Daryl is happy, let's move on to the next slide. The next the biggest thing probably is you need to get comfortable selling. and I might just put something on the weekend here, a webinar, because like we've been doing sales seminars for 25 years, and I've done selling, right? I've door to door, phone to phone, cold calling, all that kind of thing, and it is probably one of the most painful experiences you can have, all because of beliefs, all because of that crap that's happening in your own head, where you go, "Ooh, I can't possibly say this," or "They mightn't like me, they might reject me," and as we all know, rejection hurts, and we don't like it. So, probably the most important thing you need to do is get comfortable selling. The final one then, and that's, it's a personal thing, but I encourage you to look at it, is our big push for 2014 is to do lead gen. So if you look at the first point, don't be a service provider. Well, the service people typically push is something at the end of which, if you were to implement it and really run it, you'd have leads or prospects. Well, why not skip that whole thing and provide leads straight away? Because if you go into any old business, what do they want? They want more leads. Ideally, they want to have something that's almost of the free kind. Now, if you've got hot leads, pre-qualified leads, that is almost like free traffic, because if they know how much they can charge or how much they make per lead, and you charge less than that, well, that's free money for them. There you go. In it comes, I pay a little bit of money, and then I make more money on the back end. Thank you very much. So that's our big push for 2014. And the beauty of this is, the reason I'm mentioning it here is, well, it helps you with becoming a consultant. Because what you can do is you can easily go out and sell the idea of making money for nothing. Hey, I'll give you leads for less than it costs you, less than the profit you're making. Everyone's happy. Cool. And then on the back end, once they see that you're getting results for them, you can be a consultant and get them more done. For example, the one thing you could point out is like, look, I'm getting you all these leads. Now you're converting a certain percentage. I can help you convert more of them. Or those who don't buy, I can help you convert into something else. Put them on a list, or do some cross-selling, do some JVs with other people, that kind of thing. So lead gen is, in my opinion, a great way into the market where you effectively sell something that's almost like a service, but you're no longer competing on price, because the most other people who provide leads, or I shouldn't say people, most companies provide mass leads, if you like. They have web forms, people fill them in, and then they're sent out to lots and lots of companies, 5 or something like that, 5 or 10. So if you're now competing with 5 or 10 other people for the same lead, they're not going to be very responsive. Now the beauty is, that is a multi-billion-dollar industry, lead gen, and it's of a shoddy quality. So it's very easy for you to go in there and say, look, I can get you those leads, but they're exclusive to you. Thank you very much. Alrighty, here is the big question then. Why haven't you created dozens of videos yet? It's something. I hope you're going, what? What are you talking about, dozens of videos? What has this got to do with it? It's a question I saw the other day on I think it might have been Facebook. Doesn't matter. Someone was asking, why haven't you created dozens of videos yet? All the information is out there. You know how to create videos. You have, you've got a plan. You know it should be making money, and still you haven't gone and created dozens of videos. Now the same goes for everything we looked at here before. Why haven't you approached 100 companies or businesses and said, hey, I can do lead gen for you? Why haven't you, look at this here, right? Why haven't you started building a list? Why haven't you created your own product? Why haven't you looked at paid traffic? All that kind of thing. If you do SEO, if you do it yourself, which in my opinion, you shouldn't do, but if you're doing it yourself, why haven't you done it? And the simple answer, in my opinion, is this here. Actually, there are 3 parts to this. First one is confidence. Am I good enough? Especially when it comes to selling stuff. We're all told selling is evil, and I have to admit, when I got into selling insurance, it's just like, oh God, my confidence just was gone. I had to bolster it up with shiny shoes and a tie and a good, a nice looking suit. There was no confidence left because, well, I didn't have the experience. The second one is certainty, and I think that is a huge one. if you had a system where you have a reasonable amounts of certainty that it is actually going to work for you, not just the person who sold it to you, but actually going to work for you. I mean, I love all these sales letters where they have the one poster boy on there who took the system and made lots of money. But that doesn't help you. That doesn't help me. If you had a system where you've got a reasonable amount of certainty that it's going to work, well, then you would go out and create dozens of videos. But in most cases, creating a video, okay, you look at the last 5 days. There are like 5 YouTube products out there. A couple of them were actually pretty good. That was Walt Bayless's HydroVid. It's a nice sort of mass emitter. But it kind of assumes that you have a video that converts. And that is a big one. It's, if I don't have the certainty that this stuff is going to convert, well, there's no point dumping out tons and tons of videos with HydroVid. I'm just looking at questions here. Daryl says, confidence and not wanting the long period of trial and failure. Exactly. Yeah. The confidence is going to work, and I guess this is the certainty then, not wanting the long period of trial and failure. So you need something that is, gives you results quickly because it gives you certainty and confidence. And even if that first result is fairly small, at least you go, wow, this works. In a way, I was lucky when I got online. One of the very first things I promoted was a Stompernet promo. I don't even know if these guys exist anymore these days. So they had a Formula 5 promo with Paul Lemberg, and I made a sale immediately. To this day, I have no idea where the sale came from. I promoted something. I didn't have a list back then, so I created hub pages and Squidoo lenses, all that kind of stuff. Didn't offer a bonus, none of that, and still made a sale. And so within 3 weeks of me getting into online, I had a $600 check in my hand, or PayPal or whatever. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm totally with you, Daryl. The long period of trial and failure, absolutely awesome. And then, of course, the last one is the good old overwhelm, obstacles, and tech hurdles. To this day, and this is one of the biggest things for me in 2014, I'm going to outsource absolutely everything. And the reason is that I'm spending, or have spent, too much time doing nonsense. So battling with lead pages, buggy as hell. It looks beautiful on the surface, but then you get in, and I don't know if we are just unlucky because everyone else keeps saying, yeah, it's an awesome product, works beautifully. Didn't really work for us. All kinds of problems. So, and that is the kind of stuff where you sit and go, it should work, and I really shouldn't be faffing around with bloody lead pages. I should be focusing on what matters, namely getting people to sign up to the list and then making sure they get what they want, and then hopefully they'll buy something. So that is the big answer to why haven't you created dozens of videos as just a placeholder for all the stuff we mentioned above. So what I've got now is I've taken the main points from above, and what I'd like to do now, if you're interested, we can go through this. Mastering traffic. Okay, if we look at the 3 ones up, above, mastering traffic, mastering sales funnels, and master email marketing, which of the 3 would you say would be your preferred model if you're looking at online? So is it traffic, is it mastering the sales funnel, which is kind of around your own product, or master email marketing? Which of those? The email marketing, yes, you can use for all the other ones, but email marketing in this sense, I probably mean more like I'm building a list and then I'm doing affiliate marketing, not too worried about own product. So email, traffic, email or traffic, funnel. Alrighty, so we've got a slight bias towards traffic and email, those 2. No! My own favorite, the sales funnel, isn't there. Okay, cool. So in that case, let us look at traffic then. So what we'll do is we'll look at traffic and then email marketing, all right? So in traffic, what would you say? Is there a question of confidence or lack of confidence? What would make you confident that this thing works for you? And if you have no question about this thing, then just type in none. So see where the okay, having the knowledge to pick a good traffic source, getting traffic in the right numbers. All right, what I'll do is I'll just type this in here, okay, then we can work through this. Oh. No. Master traffic, confidence. So what we want is good traffic sources. We want traffic in right numbers, so volume in right numbers. Okay, anything else? No, that's basically it. So good traffic source and conversions. There you go. So conversions. Very good. How to best utilize the traffic. Okay, what do you mean by best utilize the traffic? Because remember, when I refer to master traffic, how to master traffic. What I mean here is that you go out and you find a traffic source, you find an offer, and you don't even bother with anything in between. It's straight traffic to offer. Send them over and figure out if it makes money. If it makes money, you drive more traffic. You pay for more traffic. That's it. So the best utilization of this traffic is to make as much money as possible. All right, but I'll type it anyway. So how to best utilize the traffic. Alrighty, so confidence, good traffic sources. Good traffic sources. Now, what traffic sources are there that are commonly known at the moment? Let's forget about, for the time being, of the free traffic sources, okay? The free traffic sources aren't really free. They typically involve a lot of manual work, or you outsource it. So let's look at paid traffic sources primarily, because they're easy and nice to scale up. So Facebook, I said earlier, can be very effective, but only short term. It's something that is not passive. It's something you very actively have to manage because of the banner blindness. Yes, blindness as well, but blindness mostly. So people just tune out after a little while and don't look at your ads anymore. So good traffic sources, yes, absolutely. But the thing is, good traffic sources, the quality of the traffic source, it depends on what it is you're selling. I'll give you an extreme example, I guess, and that is if you are selling how to make money online, very hyped up stuff with hot babes and Ferraris and yachts and all that kind of thing, then a good traffic source is, solar ads, for example. Now, if you're selling high-end, fundamental type business building information, then solar ads are a terrible traffic source. So it always begins with knowing what offer you've got and then finding the appropriate traffic source. Now the good thing is, and this I guess goes into certainty, this is something you can easily try out for just a few bucks. You go, look, here's an offer I think might match this traffic source over here. Let's pay for 10, 15, 20 bucks worth of that traffic, see what happens. And either converts or it doesn't. Volume, right numbers. Well, volume is something you can easily find out. Depending on the traffic source, you simply get their stats and say, look, how much traffic can you drive? And that is the one thing, for example, I've done solo ads and in general I've had terrible results. Mostly, and I'm not trying to be negative about solo ads at all, it's because it was a bad traffic to offer match. I have fundamental business and sales training material, and that is not a good fit typically for solo ads. Solo ads in most cases are, hey, look, there's a shiny magic object, boom, sign up. And if you don't offer a shiny object, then it doesn't convert. So volume depends on the traffic source, but the reason I'm mentioning solo ads is here, most solo ad sellers can sell a few hundred, maybe a few thousand clicks. But if you go in and optimize a traffic source or a whole sales funnel or whatever for one solo ad seller, once they've run out, and then it's very hard to scale it immediately. So I would suggest when you do mastering traffic, whether it's PPC on Bing or Google, or whether it's display network, or whether it's media buys, or even Facebook, make sure you've got enough volume. So, for example, when you do media buys, you want to make sure you're not targeting just one website. Yes, that can work if they have a steady flow of new customers, but if they don't sell you that steady new flow of customers, well, then you're in trouble. Conversions, yes, absolutely a huge topic in mastering traffic, and the beauty is you just won't know upfront what is going to convert and what isn't. The big secret here is to just go wild and try different things. And of course, yes, you have to track and measure. You have to have your analytics in place and know how it works. But ultimately, the good news is you don't need to. Let me put it this way. I saw this many years ago. Someone says any idiot can test and optimize their way to success. And it absolutely is true. Every single time we try something, I am blown away by the random piece of rubbish, in quotes, we put in there. Just, it's a crazy idea. And sometimes, yes, it completely bombs, but occasionally it just gives such a fantastic response that you go, I would never have guessed that this is going to be a winner. So how to best utilize the traffic? In this case, I would say that we're doing straight traffic to offer arbitrage, nothing in between. So the best utilization is to optimize your EPC, and that's it. So how about certainty? Quick question there is when would you know that this is working for you? And it kind of goes back to, I think Daryl said, well, I don't want to run for, build this thing up and have to wait months and months and months before I know. So what would you say? What would be a comfortable threshold for you to say, look, I'm willing to put this much time and effort into it, or even money, before I know I'm certain this thing works for me? And not only works on this one campaign, but this is something now I'm comfortable doing traffic, and I can move, build this out, scale it up. Okay, Daryl, 7 days. 7 days, and how much are you willing to put in there to figure out this is it? 7 days plus $500. Alrighty, who else? And highest bidder, 7 days and $500. Going once, going twice, going 3 days. 3 days, 7. All right, mastering traffic in 7 days. You'd have to be on this a lot, and you'd have to have a lot of traffic. So, if you target something where you just, let me put it this way, look, the article I sent you, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't become football player of the world in 7 days. So I would say in 7 days and $500, you can certainly get a very good feel for what works and what doesn't work, might work. But to be a very proficient traffic master, I think it's a little bit optimistic to do that in 7 days. Now, here's a big question. Have you done any paid traffic yet? And if so, what are the things that lead to overwhelm? What are the obstacles? What are the tech hurdles where you go, oh God, that's stopping me from really rolling it out? Or is it more a certainty thing that you go, look, I really don't want to sink money into this and not knowing there is, a certain degree of certainty? Okay, solo ads, finding a, hang on, here we go. Solo ads, finding a reseller that isn't a crook. Been there, done that. Well, I've had plenty of solo ad guys who've sent me lots of traffic, but just hasn't converted. So, it goes both ways. Have you had the problem that you gave them money and they didn't send any traffic, or? I mean, I've even had good sign-up rates, 48% or so. So almost half the people who were signed up. So it wasn't really just, robots or something. It was real human traffic. Well, at least I believe it was. But they didn't buy anything. So there you go. Not just crappy traffic. Exactly. So crappy traffic, well, there probably isn't such a thing as crappy traffic. It's always a question of traffic to offer match. If you were to offer them free beer and beach on the holiday, and then once they're there and they're drunk on the holiday, you make them an irresistible offer. You might just make some money there, and there are people out there who do that kind of stuff. It's just I can't personally get myself to push crap. This sort of look, push this button and you will get a yacht. I mean, I'm a firm believer. This is my personal life experience. And I realized this many years ago when I was learned how to do paragliding. So there we are on top of this hill, about 40 miles from here, and by the end of the first afternoon, everyone else was gliding down this hill. Well, not flying, but gliding. So they're lifting off and they're 10 feet in the air, and I was still running all the way from top to bottom. This was a slope, not very steep, and it was maybe a couple of 100 meters long. And I was the one who's schlepping the paraglider up and down this hill and running down. I just could not lift off. And I was asking guys, what's going on here? It's like, am I too heavy for this paraglide? And they go, no, it's all fine. It'll come. And it did. And this is my experience in life, in everything I do. Initially, it takes me typically a little bit longer than other people to pick up the fundamental skill. And very, very quickly, I'm in the top 10% because I keep at it and I keep refining my technique, etc., etc. So I'm not entirely sure how I got to the sidetrack. Oh, it's got something to do with solo ads. There you go. Little thing, sticking to it. The sticky to itness. Alrighty, let's have a look at the next one then. So we're going to skip sales funnels because there was only one, so apologies for the one person who said they want to master sales funnel. Email marketing. So, confidence. What at the back of your mind says, well, I can't go out and build a list? What's the one thing where you go, I can tell you one I already know. Like, you know what? Is my stuff good enough to mail to the list? Here we go. Are they going to unsubscribe? Oops. Even hate me. Okay, can't think of great things to say. So it's kind of the opposite of, is my stuff good enough? You want to say awesome things to them, and it's perfect. That's exactly. So what are the great things? Once again, the big secret here is, and I guess you're here because you're on my email list, and I get great feedback from a lot of people on a very regular basis. So my email marketing seems to work. And the biggest thing I can tell you is this: be natural, be yourself, be authentic. Like, don't come up with shit. And I can say this with authority because I've been there and done it. I've started out and went, is my stuff good enough to mail to the list? Who are these people? They're random strangers, and what am I going to write to them? Are they going to unsubscribe? Are they going to hate me? What's going to happen? And if you are just completely natural and come from the perspective, look, I'm out here to help you, and I've got my flaws, I'm just a normal being like you, everything's going to be fine. And of course, and the reason I can say this is because you will naturally attract those who like your style, and everyone else is going to unsubscribe anyway. So, as you know, my emails tend to be rather wordy because the kind of stuff I write about, in my opinion, I don't want to. I just don't want to condense it into the typical pitch email. Hey, here's this awesome thing, go check it out. Or here's this awesome thing, go check it out or get a massive bonus. Like, it's not my thing. And as a result, I attract people who like that kind of style. And everyone else who wants to have one link to the greatest thing and a massive bonus, well, they go somewhere else. So once again, I would say the confidence thing there is just to basically say, screw that. It's natural to be nervous in the beginning. Just go out, do it, and you will very quickly. Everything I see oh, here's the latest secret to getting great, awesome open rates. Here's the greatest secret to, here are the best times to email a list, and blah, blah, blah. I would say yes, okay, if you are talking to a market where you have no personal connection to that market and you don't really care, if it's purely a marketing medium and all you want to do is push as much as you can, as humanly possible, then yes, you should probably worry about open rates, not open rates, but the open times, measure when people are most likely to open your things, that kind of thing. But in general, when I look at my emails, it doesn't really matter what I put in the subject line. I always get the same open numbers. I mean, literally the same numbers. Plus minus 5. It's ridiculous. And it doesn't matter whether I say, important, go check it out, or whether I say, hey, here's, today I'm going to send out something about tomatoes. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. You are first to know. My wife is in the kitchen and goes, fine, check this out. And she cuts open this tomato, and there are little tomato plants in there. They've literally started sprouting inside the tomato. It's so awesome. There you go. So today we're going to have awesome tomato sprouts or something in the email, and at the end of the day, it's not going to make any difference. So the great things are, there was a thing the other day, not the other day, it was yesterday. I signed up for it. It's the latest book by Gary Vaynerchuk. It's all to do with social media. Gary Vaynerchuk is a big social media guy, and apparently it's a very hands-on book on doing it. So I ordered it. It should be in the post today. Anyways, there was a webinar, and I subscribed to it. And now I've once again lost my train of thought. Bloody Gary Vaynerchuk. Great things to say. Damn, I'm getting old. It's that Alzheimer coffee, I'm telling you. Actually, I've stopped drinking coffee. There you go. I'm just decalcifying the machine at the moment. So, certainty. Now, I don't know if we've already answered all of those. Alright, let's look at the two things, email marketing. One is the list building. That's one component. The other one is the actual emails being sent out at the end. Are there any questions where you go, right, this would have to be in place, that I know it works and therefore stick with it? That's the key thing. It's like, at what point do you go, right, now I'm motivated enough to say, yes, I want to stick with this because I can see the proof in front of my own eyes, which in my opinion is the essential component of anything, right? You need to see in front of your own eyes, yes, this is working for me, and therefore I'm going to do more of it. Because there's no point seeing the poster boy succeed. There's no, amount of hype and promises by the gurus that get you to do something. You need to kind of see it for yourself and go, right, now I'm going to go and do it. So what would you need to see, both in terms of building a list, as well as the response to your marketing messages, that you go, yes, this is something I want to stick with? And it's a question for you. Well, okay, I'm getting very general answers like positive ROI, good responses to my email clicks. So what's a positive ROI? Because, if you put $1 in, you get $1.01 out. That's a positive ROI, but it's not exactly what we're aiming for, I guess. Good, repeatable results. So what I'm seeing here is a common thing with goal setting. All right, it's not quantifiable, or it's not quantified at this point. So another one here, good, repeatable results. Tell me, what does good mean? What does positive mean? Good responses to my email clicks or emails clicks. What does good mean? Because you could go about this in two different ways. You could say, I just want to make X amount of money, and I don't care how I get there. So if my positive ROI is, for every dollar I spend on ads, I get $1.50 out, so not very much. You're getting like 50% return, but it's an unlimited amount of traffic, so I'm just going to buy as much traffic as I can and build it up that way. So you have a fairly low response rate, or ROI rate if you like, but because there's tons of traffic, you're just going to keep buying traffic and make money that way. Or you go, well, no, I want to build a really good relationship. And I read this great case study of a lady who, with a list of 600 people, which is nothing, right? You could start building a list today and have a list of 600 by the end of this week. And she's making 100 grand, 6 figures from that one list. So she's built a massive, massive relationship with the people on that list, and she's making that sort of money. So, by the way, as an affiliate, that's the super cool thing. So, all right, we've got some refined things here. Open rate beyond 60%, and click on link. Actually, let me just quickly type that in here so we've got it for the record when I send you the slides. Positive ROI. Good repeatable results. What was it? Good responses to my emails, clicks, and then open rate 60% plus, and click-through rate of 30%. Wow. Okay, those are once again. You could. I just want to highlight a few things here. If you take a general list, let's say internet marketing, we're all familiar with internet marketing, an open rate of 60% is insanely good. I mean, that's insane. My personal record is 84%, but that's not in the internet marketing niche. That's in the personal development niche, with very targeted messages. And it's not something that's easy to maintain over any length of time. It's only natural that people lose interest in what you've got over time. Okay, so 60% is an extremely ambitious goal. However, it's fairly easy to achieve. Basically, you simply unsubscribe anyone who hasn't opened your emails for a month. All right, and therefore you will always have a fantastically high open rate. So once again, it's something to be aware of. At the end of the day, click-through rate and open rate doesn't really mean anything. The rates at which people open, who cares? At the end of the day, actually it goes back to positive ROI. That's what we need to focus on. Oops, here we go. Let's make that nice and fat. Boom. Okay, is everyone clear about... I've got a nice one coming in. Nice comment from Daryl here. Everyone clear about why open rates and EPCs and all that kind of stuff aren't actually that important? Yeah, okay, cool. So that sounds good. So my screen is black. Does anyone else see a black screen, or do you see my screen? Just reverted. Okay, cool. So, fine. Alrighty. Daryl made a great comment here, and that is success could be measured in 10 to 15% list growth each month. Okay, so let's put that straight in there. 10 to 15% list growth each month. Now, in itself, of course, as we've just discussed, it's worth nothing. List growth itself is worth nothing unless you have positive ROI. However, the focus of list growth, I think we should highlight the list growth here. We should highlight, yes. Oh, what's going on here? Boom. That is the big secret, okay? There's a great example in a fantastic book by a fantastic guy, and if only I could remember. And it's not Alzheimer's. This is actually a long time ago I read it. I will dig this out, okay? The idea is this, and basically it was a guy who's running boutique hotels in San Francisco, and he had investors on board. They invested in the whole thing, and then during the big crash of 2001, the whole like investment thing going down, investment started running out, and he had to report to his investors about the state of business. And of course, because the entire industry was shrinking, his business was shrinking as well. So on paper, if you look at the absolute numbers, basically his business was going down quite badly. But overall, compared to all the other guys, his amount of shrinkage was much less. So he's doing, under the circumstances, he was doing better than anybody else. And that is a key thing, right? So all of these things by themselves mean nothing, like click-through rate and open rate and list growth alone don't mean anything. But if you look at a relative, or relative measure compared to everything else you're doing, it's a great way, especially when you take into account that you are achieving a positive ROI. So, black screen, move that mouse. Screen went into sleep mode. Okay, got it. Right. So, give me 1 second. Here was a comment about paid traffic. Paid traffic for local business consulting. We'll go through local business in a second. So if I forget, then remind me again, okay? So, the last one then is overwhelm, obstacles, tech hurdles. I guess this is a big one, right? Let's go back to the original question. Why haven't you shot 20 videos yet? This goes to email marketing and list building. Why haven't you actually done it? What are the main reasons you aren't building a list? Why aren't you collecting leads like mad and emailing them? So, actually, if you quickly type in, I want to show hands, who is building a list or has tried building a list and who hasn't done anything. So if you say none, that means you have never tried and you're still not. And if you have, then say yes or, yes, some, yes. Okay, most people have done some. Some, not much, yes. Okay, awkward ran out of sound, so yes. Hopefully the replay should record quite well. Okay, so turns out Joe has done one. I'm not quite sure what one is. You've done one list or built one list. So it looks like most people have done some. And the question is, why aren't you doing tons of it? Why aren't you spending most of your time doing exactly this, building lists? What would you say at the moment is the biggest obstacle? Is it the getting people onto the list, or is it the what do I mail afterwards? Okay, Alex says building a list not the problem, conversion to customers. Okay, building easy, converting hard. What do I mail? Do I mail? Okay, not getting results, more work, very little results. Daryl, wasn't getting the results you expected in terms of sign-up rates, people onto the list, or in terms of ROI, click-through rates, open rates, that kind of thing. Affiliate sales, so not getting enough affiliate sales. Okay, cool. Affiliate sales. Need to be better organized, have a better system in place. Okay, need systems to do this. I tell you what, seems to me the main thing here is not the actual building at the front, getting people onto the list, although that is of course important, but more the what the hell do I email them afterwards? And that is it's not complex, but it's more than we can do now because we've already overrun by 10 minutes. Awesome, and we're only halfway through. So what I'll do is I'll see if I can do a webinar this weekend where we can go into a bit more detail on how to do that, because that is basically what I do. Okay, I email stuff. So that should be. Would that be of interest? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Excellent. I'll do that. Oh, finally, 20 people have woken up. They're all saying yes. Are you all, like, not typing whilst I'm asking these questions? Okay, cool. So we'll do that. Next one then is... Alrighty, so this is, now we go back to the offline world, and we'll go through this a little bit faster, okay? Service provider versus consultant. If maybe give me the high-level picture here. Which one of these is the biggest problem for you? Or maybe you should first ask, are you at the moment, the offliners here on the call, are you doing service provider or are you actually a consultant? If you came on late on the call, what I said earlier, I was lucky enough, and of course it has nothing to do with luck, I was just put myself in the place, but I have talked to literally thousands of business owners, and as a result I have very good views of what's happening behind the scenes, and it's always the same stuff, but I've been in there, I've talked to them, I've been in the living rooms at 10 o'clock in the evening whilst they're still fulfilling orders, that kind of stuff. So that, in my opinion, is one of the biggest things. If you want to be a consultant, you truly have to understand what the real problems are your clients have. So of all of these, your confidence, certainty, overwhelm, obstacles, tech hurdles, which is the big thing that's stopping you from being a consultant. Okay, here is... okay, I'm trying to put them in the right order. Okay, confidence... Alex says, wanted to do it all online, not talk in person. Didn't work. Okay, so Daryl says, I'm providing small biz sites, mobile sites, social media sites. Well, is that purely as a service, or are you consulting on the marketing they should be doing with these things? Awesome! Check this out. After going out meeting real people, now I got my first sale thanks to offline superheroes. Wow, that is awesome. That is terrific, Alex. Thank you. Okay, Daryl says service provider more so. So, well, there is a bit of an obstacle that basically Daryl is a service provider. Okay. So my big question here is mobile marketing. Okay, Anthony, mobile marketing as a consultant or as a service provider? Or is it a done-for-them service type thing? By the way, if you're into online, and we've just gone through the whole online thing, now we're going through offline, we'll be a little bit faster with the offline, because afterwards I've got a couple of slides on coming up with a plan you can implement, okay? Anthony as a consultant, okay, cool. So maybe as a last thing, what is certainty? When and how would you know that this thing actually works? I can tell you mine, okay? The moment I started having conversations randomly, not going into a shop, but having a conversation somewhere, and someone says, you know what, I know someone you should be talking to. That's when I knew, boom, okay, I've got something here. So my question to you is, in terms of certainty and confidence that comes with that certainty, when would you know that this offline stuff is actually working for you? Is it one client? Is it a handful of clients? Is it when people are knocking on your door? When people are knocking on your door. Now, I'll give you my opinion on when people are knocking on your door. There's a big problem with this, namely the temptation to set up a business structure, a system where you don't have to do any selling, and that's kind of the next slide, isn't it? There is, and if I look at whatever, the internet marketing space and all the offline consulting space, the most popular product by far is the good old lead gen product. And within that group, by far the most popular one is that the lead gen product where people are knocking on your door and you don't really have to talk to anyone in person. They just come to you begging to do the stuff for them. And the temptation there is to say, look, I'm not comfortable with the selling part. I don't really have the confidence to talk to people. And therefore, I'm going to use these magic systems. So although I totally agree with you, it's an awesome thing once you've got everything in place that people are knocking on your door. The reality is, and I wish I could do a little fancy graph in here. All right, follow my mouse, okay? We're beginning at the bottom left here, and we go up to the word confidence. Very steep curve. Boom. And then over time, actually, no, let's start at the top right. We don't even go up. We start at the word confidence here in the top left corner, okay? And then this graph goes down and down and down and down until we kind of hit the bottom right corner here. Now, in the beginning, that is the amount of like interrupting people you need to do because no one knows about you. You don't have any referrals. You're completely new to the market, and you basically need to make some noise to get people to be interested in what you've got here. And that is a reality, and there is no way of getting around that. Yes, you could have the help of JVs, and you could, by JVs in this case, I mean you do set up something with the local printers or with the local accountants who specialize in the business community, all that kind of thing. Yes, you can do it, but you will have to make some noise, and you have to get comfortable with that idea. In the beginning, there is no such thing as the lead gen system that pulls people in, and they all go, "Yay! I'm a raving fan." It's just the nature of the beast. And then over time, as this curve goes down towards the bottom right corner here, the amount of work you need to do to shout in the marketplace goes down, and at the same time, the number of referrals and repeat customers, etc., goes up. So that is, the slightly shocking truth of doing anything with real businesses, but better tell you now than never. So when people are knocking on your door, that is going to happen here in the second half of that graph, if you like. So people knocking on your door, consistent leads and sales. Now, here's another one. I kind of mentioned this earlier. Consistent leads and sales. Now, let me ask you a question. If you had one lead every month and you converted 1 out of 12, so meaning you were doing 1 sale per year, that would be very consistent. But I imagine probably not what you were looking for, right, Joe? Okay, I'm just being facetious here. You need to be more specific. When you come up with these plans, what are consistent leads and sales? And the reason I'm highlighting this is a lot of people go, right, I'm setting this goal of having, consistent leads of sales, not very useful. All right, now I'm going to come up with a new plan. I'm going to have 100 leads every month, and out of this 100 leads, I will have, 10% sales. So I'll have 10 new sales every month. Now that is a great plan, but it's actually not under your control. You're not controlling this thing. So consistent 100 leads per month is not something you can really control unless you have a sales funnel, a lead gen funnel with predictable results. Meaning you have already tested this, and every time you put an ad in the paper, or every time you do an email campaign or a phone campaign or a door-to-door knocking on doors campaign, you have a certain number of people who are interested. However, what you can control 100% is the number of direct response pieces you send out, the number of phone calls you make, the number of emails you send out, etc., etc., etc. So very important when you set goals. You want to get away from this generic consistent leads and sales, which means nothing. And unfortunately, it's also an easy way out to give up and move to the next thing. Like, this one wasn't consistent enough. Well, you never define consistent. So, very important to get that going. So, Detlef says he needs to go. Detlef, yes, I will send you the replay. He's going to England. Oh, I will definitely email you because I need something from England. Brilliant. I will do some secret smuggling from England. Okay, cool. Again, Anthony says, get referrals from other businesses. So let's put this in here. Get referrals from from other businesses. It's not something you can immediately control, and it's harder than you think in practice. I remember our local gym. They are a fantastic example of marketing. If you've been on any of my calls, you know I keep raving about that gym because the owner is such a fantastic marketer. So he set up something where he did a JV with, oh God, was it 30 local businesses? And the idea was to basically do referrals. They had a giant wall, one wall just covered with special offers from all these other businesses. So you had a travel agent where you'd get a 10% discount as a gym member. You got a free bun every time you bought something from the local bakery, etc., etc. And he took it down after a year. He said it's just not worth it because he didn't have the bandwidth to train all the other guys. So the other guys had his ad hanging in their place, but they didn't really promote it actively. So when you say get referrals from other businesses, once again, the reality is it's very difficult to control from your part. However, what you can do is, my objective is to approach 10 businesses to set up a joint referral system, and then meet with them once a month to really keep this thing moving and train everyone, if necessary, how to do proper referrals, etc., etc. Alrighty, let's look at selling. Right, this is painful, so we're going to do this because pain is good, facing your demons, and then you can move forward. How confident here is everyone on this call to go out selling? Is selling natural to you? In which case you're one in 10% of the population apparently have no natural aversion to selling. Everyone else hates selling, and it includes me. I prefer consultative selling or educational selling, where people approach me and go, right, I've heard you have some cool stuff. But there you go. This is brilliant. So Alex says, not natural, but after my first successful visit, I have no more fear. And that is the key thing, isn't it? It is very, very rare you get eaten by someone you approach and sell them something. Now, there are beautiful ways of getting around the selling part, at least initially. You can go in and the offline superheroes is part of that process where you basically get people in, and but you need to get that material into their hands in the first place. And that is basically, at some point you're going to have to sell. And that goes back to that curve I showed you on the previous slide. Well, I didn't show you, but we kind of drew it. And in the beginning, you're going to have to sell. And the best way is to go out and do it. And the even better way is to just go out and say, look, I'm not going to sell anything. I'm just going to talk to 10 business owners. That is my objective for this week. I'm going to talk in person. I'm going to walk in, make an appointment to talk to them. And all you say is, hello, I'm doing this, and I'm interested in what you guys do. We are all part of the local business community. Pretend in your mind that you are part of one of those business breakfast clubs, where you give each other referrals. Just pretend that. So there's no selling here. You are now talking to a colleague. You're in the same community. You're in the business community. You're trying to help each other out. And that is the fundamental attitude you take when you go in there and say, look, I'd love to talk to you. Just figure out what you guys are doing. Here, I'll give you an example. In the newspaper, here, right next to me on my to-do list, a local travel agent won best service business in the country in 2013. So in my local area is a travel agent who are providing the best customer service in the whole country. Whatever their organization is, but it was big enough to be in the newspaper, which is brilliant. And I'm just going to go to them because I'm genuinely interested in how they do it. What makes them so special? So, if at the end they need some help with their marketing to exploit that, well, I'm not going to say no, but you got the idea. In the beginning, go in and just talk to them like colleagues, see how you can help each other out. And that'll totally take away the fear of selling, because you'll get the confidence that, well, actually most people are just human beings. No one wants to eat you. And, they have problems you never thought about. There you go. Thank you very much. Alrighty. So, give me then, in one sentence, what is the big one thing where you say selling is something I'm struggling with, or I lack confidence, or when would you know this works for you, or what would need to be in place? What are the main obstacles? What are the main hurdles? Maybe not tech hurdles, but the what are the main things that's stopping you from selling? Because like I said on the previous slide, I didn't draw it. It is essential. If you're not comfortable selling and asking for the sale, very few people will come and chase you down. No one has any issues with selling. That is wonderful. I've only got natural salespeople on my seminar, on my webinar. This is a nice one. Daryl says, having the understanding that you will start to improve your techniques before running out of people to talk to. See, you've just mentioned something really important, namely improve your technique. Like at the end of the day, there are two things you need to know about selling. The first one is you need to go in with a product or service where you know it's going to help people. Okay, you've done a little bit of research on them, you know you can help them, or you have a very good idea that you can help them. And if it's a good fit, you know you can deliver. Once you've got that, your confidence goes high, and the certainty that you can deliver. So one of the definitions of selling I mentioned the other day is that it's transfer of confidence from one person to another. If you're confident that what you've got works and you can transfer that confidence to them, half the sale is done. And it's important not to talk them to death, which is natural for any new salesperson. It's like, oh, look, here's some more features, and look at these graphs, and they go, whatever, give me some outcomes, that's all I need. And the second skill you need is listening. And the interesting thing is, in most cases, you basically prompt them a couple of questions, and they keep talking and 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 never stop. And if you need any questions to prompt, look at the Offline Superheroes bonus webinar I did, was it last week? I should have the recording by now. In there, I go through a bunch of those questions. They are, I think I even put the PowerPoints in there, I think. Yeah, sure, the PowerPoints are in there. So you've got all the questions in writing. That's typically enough to get them started. I'm good with selling, but I don't scale. How do I scale the business? So, okay, to finish off Daryl's question then, having the understanding that you will start to improve your technique before running out of people to talk. The technique you need to do is basically practice listening. That's it. Have a couple of questions you ask. Forget about technique. Selling is not about technique. Yes, we're all trained to think that we need closing techniques and objection overcoming, all that kind of thing. And yeah, fair enough if you've got some basics in how to handle objections. But at the end of the day, if you can listen to people and then in an honest, authentic way just address those issues, that's fine. That's all you need in terms of technique. So how do I scale the business? If you're already fully booked, you need to hire salespeople, as simple as that. There are only so many conversations you can have in person. So two things you can do: hire salespeople and or get them onto educational things. So that could be a live thing, or it could be a webinar. So what you do is then you basically reduce the number of actual sales calls and reduce them down to a conversation where you sell the live event, whether it's live or a webinar. So people get together and you have an educational thing, and at the end you then focus all your energy on those who are really hot prospects. And that way you don't have to sell to all the non-prospects. So I think that's probably the best way of scaling this very quickly. 2 ears and one mouth, use in proportion. Yes, exactly. Very good. So cool. Let us go to the last one. Lead gen. Lead gen, the most popular thing. What would you say are the main obstacles? Why you're not doing it? Why haven't you created like 10 different lead gen systems and deployed them like mad? And after that comes the big secret. Okay, the big secret for implementing your plan. I'm just going to drink chamomile tea. Let me ask you another question. How many different lead gen systems have you bought and they are like slowly eroding your hard disk? Okay, to make it less embarrassing, say none, one, or many. Haha, millions. Okay, Anthony says planning to do it this month. So the question is, what's stopped you so far? Because the key thing is, whatever stopped you so far, you need to get that out of the system before you implement it this month. Many, definitely a few, 3, many. Yeah. So basically, buying lead gen systems has all to do with confidence of doing it yourself. And like I said, okay, this is like anything else. My first talk in front of a live audience, well, the first talk I did in front of a live audience was probably in school, and it was bloody scary. And the next one was in university, and it was bloomin' scary, especially since I'm an introvert and I was fairly shy as a teenager. And then I decided, okay, if I want to do these live seminars and tell real people on how to sell stuff, I probably should get a little bit better at presenting. So I attended a presentation and platform skill course, and it was awesome. And since then, but still, despite doing that, the first couple of presentations were kind of scary. And then you do it, and it gets less scary and less scary. And now, although I haven't done anything with like thousands of people, I don't think it would be a major issue because, well, it's just a few more people. And the interesting thing is, when you talk to a live audience, you always treat them as one. You don't look at individuals. You just treat the whole audience as one. So the size really doesn't matter at all. The key point here is you just got to go and do it. And the question then is, what I'm observing is a lot of people buy these lead gen things and go, wow, that makes sense intellectually, but never implemented. Because, well, they don't have the confidence, and is it going to work, and do I have the credentials and all that kind of stuff. And you don't really need credentials. You don't need a PhD in so-and-so. I mean, to give you an example, okay, I have to admit, I don't have a degree in marketing. Shock horror. And my wife, for years, she was going, well, how can you possibly do this? You don't have a degree in marketing. Well, she does. Haha, I think that was the main issue. And, I just did it. The same goes for me standing in front of a camera. I've done a lot of video. Haven't done so recently. Means I need to shave. I really don't like shaving. But I shall do it again. I shall shave again and do videos. And in the beginning it was awful. It was just like, oh, God. The first video I ever did took like 20 takes just to say, hello, my name is Fai Cheng. And, that's the way it is. So you just got to go and do it. So don't use the, things like, oh, here's another one that looks even better than the first one and more automated and more people coming towards me without me doing anything. It's just an excuse, and it's an understandable excuse. So there's nothing wrong with you. Everyone has that thing. It's lack of confidence, and it's got to do with basically going out and doing it. So, issue with getting good traffic for lead gen. Well, the good traffic. Anthony, where do you live? Do you have businesses in a 20-mile radius? Because that's where good traffic is. Now, Alexander says, I can fully confirm this. Only after stepping over my fears and going out, I got my first sale. No sale before. After spending thousands on courses. Yes, exactly. Anthony, San Jose in California. I've never been there, but it sounds like it might have a few businesses in there. So where do you get good traffic for lead gen? Your local businesses. They're probably the best traffic. Silicon Valley, but perfect. Tech stuff, tech heaven. Awesome. In my opinion, and not only opinion, but personal experience, you're much better off anyway not targeting the local mom and pop shops. Okay, if you're doing lead gen for a company that sells high-tech software, for example, I've done work with a company, they're the market leaders in Germany here, and they happen to be in the local area. They sell the software that interfaces the general admin IT systems in hospitals with their labs. So the labs where they analyze blood and urine and all kinds of other stuff. And basically the interface software. And it's a hugely expensive package. So awesome. If I can get them a sale, it's definitely worth their while and to hire me. And the same, I imagine, goes for Silicon Valley. There are tons of companies that sell high-end stuff. So awesome opportunity. So going out and contacting them. And what I would say, I don't know how big San Jose is, but I'm sure you have a business club, and different types of business clubs. At least over here in Europe, you've got the ones where the local butcher and the local furniture maker and the local tree cutter and all that kind of thing meet. But you also have the ones where the CEO. There you go. Population 1 million. So I'm sure you've got the local CEO club, and you just join that thing, and you start talking, building relationships. Because when you're talking about these big gigs, it is what it is. It's personal relationships. It's much better than going in, and can be totally effective. By the way, I do highly recommend, I said this last time, get the book by Chet Holmes, as long as you can still get it, The Ultimate Sales Machine. And he's got this great concept. I can tell you the concept right now. It's very, very simple. You basically pick your 100 top dream clients, the ones you really want, and then you pursue them. You start pursuing them by constantly following up and building relationships, calling in favors left, right, and center. The beauty of that system is, of course, that you're focused on specific prospects, specific companies you want to have as clients. Whereas if you go, well, I want some clients, it's very easy to go, well, that one didn't work, I'll go and try this other one. Oh, that one didn't work, I'll go and try this other one. Whereas if you had your Dream 100, you're now focused. These are the ones you want. And even if you don't get all the Dream 100, you're much more likely to get 10% of them. And as you are in Silicon Valley, you're much more likely to have high-end clients there who really benefit from having lead gen done for them, for example. I can tell you here, I used to have an office in the local business park. I'm now in the home office because the business park, the buildings were just too cold, and it was insulation from the 50s, aka cardboard, and it was ridiculous. So anyway, in that business park, there are plenty of, for example, logistics companies or companies that arrange logistics for the immediate neighbors were logistics for the car industry. So what they do is they basically connect the component manufacturers with the car manufacturer. So the car manufacturer goes out and says to the marketplace, we need X amount of those things and X amount of those things and Y amount of those things. And then they go to this logistics company to basically do all the rest. Just source these things, put them into boxes, ship them to us, and thank you very much. Now, that is a huge industry, and the interesting thing is they have no idea when it comes to internet marketing. They go out and they fire up Google. And they go, right, where do I find this thing the car manufacturer was and this other thing they want? I mean, yes, they have some core suppliers, but every time something unusual comes up, they just go, oh, crap, where do you get this? And they use Google. Well, you can jump onto this from so many different angles. You go in and say, I'm now talking to all the actual manufacturers and make sure they're up in Google. There you go. Alrighty, cool. So, I'm not going to type anything in here. I think we've talked through this. So let's wrap up with the big secret. And if we had this as a presentation, we had a cool point-by-point reveal. So, but we don't. So here we go. The causal relationship. Right? What I mean by the causal relationship, the one thing I keep observing in the marketplace is you are propositioned a lead gen course. Someone says, oh, I've got this great course on how to do webinars. I've got this great course on do whatever. And look, with my webinar thing, I've made $300 million in sales. And what is happening there is that people make that assumption that there's a causal relationship. And I'm using the fancy word causal because my son is just learning German grammar, which is a nightmare. German grammar is a complete nightmare. And it's, of course, all named in Latin names. So genus, numerus, and causus, or causus. 4 different cases, so that's why I'm using causal relationship. There you go. Anyway, the assumption there is, oh, look, because I use this webinar process, I made $300 million in sales. And you go, wow, that's awesome. I want to make $300 million in sale. Therefore, the logical conclusion is I need to buy this course on X, doing webinars. Now, really, what you need to do in the real world is to do some split testing where you go, well, okay, fair enough. Let's take the same product we want to sell here and now pit webinars against direct response mail. And what you'll very quickly find is, yes, certainly there might be a lift with the webinars because you're doing all kinds of cool things. You're building a relationship. People can ask questions and answers, all that kind of stuff. But overall, what you very quickly find out is that what really matters is figuring out what people really want. That is the one fundamental thing. If you can figure out what your target audience really, really wants, and that's why I'm saying, I'm lucky because I've talked to countless business owners, and I know what their one fundamental thing is. On the surface, I can tell you what they want. Is they want more time, although they don't express it that way, and they want, oh, help, my screwdriver, and they want to have more leads. At least that's what they think they want, and then deeper down they want other things. But if you can go in and truly formulate that for them, you're in there. So with everything we've said before, I want the confidence to have all these things. In my opinion, is much more important to go in and figure out what your target audience really wants. And that's why the final point here is you need to have the one plan. You are much better off to focus on one. And I had a video not that long ago, maybe a year ago, the power of one. It goes back to the concept of, do you want to have an empire of websites or do you want to have a single website? And I'm suggesting that if you have a single website, and you focus all your energy on it, you will very, very quickly optimize it to the one thing that is truly performing at an optimal level. Maybe not the global optimum, but certainly at something that's much, much better than a statistically random thing. So my suggestion to you is, with everything we've gone through today, take one thing. So if you're doing online marketing, look at what is you want to do. Do you want to do paid traffic to offer and nothing in between? So you're just a traffic broker. Or do you want to develop your own product and build a sales funnel? And most people have said no thanks. Or do you want to do email marketing? So you do passive income streams using email, and so many people said yes. I'll see what I can do maybe Saturday, do another session on that one. Or if you're doing offline, focus on ideally one niche first. Become an expert and truly understand what it is, because your local dentist will have different requirements from, for example, someone who's selling $100,000 software packages. So truly understand what it is they want, and then build the one plan, the one thing where you pursue them, using ideally something like Chet Holmes' Dream 100. So you now have a strong focus on this one thing, and then you build out your sales funnel, your lead gen, and you quickly see, like, okay, this lead gen piece I just did here did not work. Let's try something else. Because nothing else is going to build your confidence faster, and you get clarity on what needs to be done, what is effective, what is ineffective. Everything else, where you go, right, I tried this, didn't work, let me try something else. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, look, this client didn't respond. Well, let me try someone else. That's kind of, I'm not saying it's a lame excuse, but it doesn't get your mind focused. Whereas with, here's the one thing. And there's so many psychological principles behind this as well. What the great term there is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy means nothing but you have belief in your own plan. And when you have belief in your plan, because you came up with it, as opposed to, look, here's a templated, ready-made plan for me, then then you start implementing. They've shown this in so many different places. Weight loss, people want to quit smoking, wife beating, achieving financial goals, building a business, etc., etc. Everywhere, you need to believe in the plan. So forget about what sales letters promise you, like wow, here get this plan and then boom, you'll be rich. Instead, come up with your own plan, and of course get guidance on how to come up with your own plan, but then focus on one plan, execute like mad. Was it Daryl who said earlier, I'm giving myself 7 days at $500 to make this happen. Now, to give you an idea, Daryl, earlier you said, okay, 7 days, $500, I'm going to have it done. I did an interview with someone, and I don't know if I posted this online, who started a company with $200 cash in May last year, and by December they were at the $400,000 level. So it is what you've got there. Taking $500 to invest is not impossible, but I think the 7 days is just stretching a little bit. Alrighty, that's it. That's what I've got for you today. Any questions? Q&A. Fight, how can I get back on your list as it seems I've dropped off? All I get is these webinar notices. Alrighty. Daryl, send me an email. Now I need to figure out how to send you to reply to fight at googlemail.com. I'll send it to everyone. Okay, boom. And I'll sort you out. Basically, I've got two main lists you can be on. One is the online list, one is the offline list, and you can pick and choose. Well, it's quite possible you dropped off because I'm using Aweber, and Aweber by default delivers into... Are you using Gmail? Because in Gmail it just goes into the promotion tabs. By the way, that was a shock horror. Actually, I'll give you two random insights. Okay, when Gmail introduced the tabs, open rates and click-through rates went down dramatically because of a lot of my emails ended up in the promotions tab, and boom, that's it. Nothing I can do about it. And the other one is that after New Year, I've noticed a lot of people are doing their email list clearing. They're going, oh, I'm subscribed to all this junk. Let me clear out. So I noticed a substantial spike after Christmas of people who unsubscribed. I think that's fine. I don't really care about sending out emails to people who don't read them. That's fine. If it's not appropriate, they should unsubscribe. But it's an interesting thing to observe that after Christmas, like a lot of people are clearing out, which in my opinion is a good thing. Just as a random observation. So Alex, do you plan something more on email sequences? Seems to be my big question. How often do you send in the beginning after the first period? Daryl says yes, Gmail killed my list ROI. Absolutely. Yes, I am planning something on email sequences. Like I said, maybe got on a little bit late. I'll try to do something on Saturday, this coming Saturday, so 2 days from now. I'll see if I can squeeze it in. At the moment, the football season has started again, and I've got 4 kids, three of whom who play football. So, and we've got all kinds of school things. I would have thought before Christmas, yes, I can live with it. The month of social madness, but it seems to continue. Thank you very much. Wesley wants to know, do you want me to send a link to the recorded Webby to the address you just gave above? Wesley, I'm not quite sure. A recorded Webby. Okay, yes, that would be awesome. Okay, Wesley recorded this webinar, hopefully with better sound than I did, because somehow GoToWebinar does not like my microphone here. So it would be brilliant if you could send it over there. Okay, cool. So I am going to have to go because my wife is at the door and she says it is time. The time has come to go and crack open that bottle of red. So any final questions? If not, send me an email. You know, I send you my email there. Hope this was useful. Bubble bath. Absolutely. Alrighty, cool. Actually, I tell you what. Here's one more request. A lot of people have already, no, a few people have left. Final request. I would, if you got value out of this, I was wondering if you could write me a testimonial. Okay? It's almost criminal neglect what I've done with testimonials. My inbox is full of people who thank me for the stuff I'm putting out, but I've never collected them as testimonials. So if you got value out of it, I would appreciate a short testimonial. How it helped you, if it helped you, what it helped you with, does it give you clarity, anything like that. Would really appreciate it. Alrighty, fantastic. So it doesn't seem like there are many more big questions. On that happy note, I'll stop the recording here. Yes, do you have a fun day too?